2008 meeting of the Rotary Club of Sebastopol Sunrise. Still summer, you wouldn't know outside.
Makes it home.
All right, Michael, let's have our first.
The mic's up there. The mic's up.
Raise the flag, place hand on the heart. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Meet your neighbor.
My neighbor.
Pretend like you like one another. All right.
TJ. Michael now. Test. It's not turning green.
Stop everything.
There you go.
Right now. Stop it. Let's see. Joe. Daily Daddy.
Judy, but all
Good morning, everybody. Right up, come on, we got it. Like church. Rod, you always sing better standing, right?
Yes.
All right, we're going to sing. No.
Do-a-diddy.
It says ditty. It is a ditty. All right. How about If I Had a Hammer?
Oh, yes.
If I had a hammer, I hammer in the morning, I hammer in the evening, all over this land. I hammer out danger, I hammer out warnings, I hammer out love between my brothers and sisters, all over this land. Ooh, if I had a song, I'd sing it in the morning, I'd sing it in the evening, all over this land. I'd sing out danger, I'd sing out warning, I'd sing out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. One more. Ooh, if I had a bell, I'd ring it in the morning, I'd ring it in the evening, all over this land. I'd ring out danger, I'd ring out warning, I'd ring out love between my brothers and my sisters, all over this land. You're right.
Mike, we need Mike. Where are Mike's?
Stimulate.
Good morning. My thought for the day is from one of our more truth-telling presidents. It is, if you kick the person in the pants responsible for most of your trouble, you wouldn't sit down for a month. Theodore Roosevelt.
Oh, it's so profound. Thanking our greeter, Darlene and Nikki. Thank you and welcome back to Nikki. Nice to see you. Mike team, thanks Terry and Jim.
Jim's looking great over there.
I guess Mike is. Okay. No Jimmy. Visiting Rotarians, do we have any, Lori?
None.
I think Mr. Zimmer from the new. There he is. There he is. Can you find visitors? Welcome guests. Who are our guests? I know one. Go ahead, Charlie.
I'd like to introduce Bernadette Brown, our speaker today, and Harris, who I should have introduced as a visiting reporter.
Oh, that's that bites. cuts or whatever you say.
I have another guest who's coming to return to us, coming back to the phone, Miss Summer Morris.
Thank you, Al.
And any other visitors? Oh, we do have one. Just lock.
We have Magdalena here from the Netherlands, our exchange student. Welcome.
In fact, Madeline, did I spell your name right? Well. Madeline, can you tell us a little bit about your aventure or whatever?
She needs a mic. She needs a mic.
Mike.
Where's the A team?
Don't we have a...
Now we're down to D.
I'm talking to someone that might want the money.
Madeline, is that the right way to spell your name?
Yeah, there is like one, I don't know how it's called,
Oh, yeah, accent aigu.
but it's fine.
Ça va, ça marche.
Okay, well, this weekend I went on the rafting trip with the whole district, the whole inbound, and that was of course very much fun.
Yeah.
And well, the river wasn't that fast, so we didn't have to do anything. But we made a water fight, and that was of course a lot of fun.
Was that the Trinity River? Is that where that was? Or which
I
river?
have no
You
idea.
don't know. It was just up north.
Yeah, it was. I
Was there smoke in the air up there?
yeah, it was.
Yeah. I remember.
On the way there, it was even smelling a lot.
Oh, yeah, around the shaft area. Huh? So, and then, second picture, this is you and your
It's settled.
This is
co-host?
a picture of all the inbounds of this year. Not all the flags, not all the nationalities, because they forgot their flag.
Now, Madeline, you're from the Netherlands, is that
Yeah.
correct? What town in the Netherlands?
It's called Gendlingen.
Yeah, and how big of a town is that?
It's as big as Sebastopol, like that.
Now, if I went to Amsterdam and enjoyed a little bit of the sort of hospitality in Amsterdam, would I be able to find my way to your town?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good to know. Maybe see that.
You could try.
Yeah, I could try. Thank you so much.
Looking in those windows.
Yeah, don't worry.
You're gonna be window shopping.
Can I ask, or do we have another visitor over here?
We have another guest, President Matt. Like to welcome Adrian here. I think most of you had a chance.
Yay! Thanks. Glad to see you. Good. Any other visitors? And I'm going to ask Linda to give us a brief membership moment.
Thank you, President Matt. Good morning, sunrisers. In honor of Aretha Franklin, I'm going to,
Delta down.
Whoa. Jimi Hendrix.
Aretha Franklin once said, "It really is an honor if I can be inspirational to a younger singer or person. It means I've done my job." And this year's theme, be the inspiration. So in Rotary, it is our honor to share the gift of Rotary with others. Let's inspire others to join us in the efforts to end poverty, to educate, to create health. And let's be inspirational like Aretha. That said, our president hasn't been very inspirational without his bell. Would you agree?
Thank God.
Yeah. So,
Where's the bell?
I think,
I can hear it in my head.
yeah, I think we need to, I think he needs to earn his bell back. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Let's start with Lori Darling here. We have a plan.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, the plan. All right, presidents. On February 27th, 1992, Stella Liebeck ordered a 49-cent cup of coffee from McDonald's drive-thru.
She was in the passenger seat of her grandson's car, which did not have cup holders. In the process of trying to add cream and sugar, she put the coffee between her knees and pulled the far side of the lid to remove it, but accidentally spilled the entire cup.
Ouch.
Yeah, she was wearing cotton trousers. They absorbed the coffee and fused to her skin, causing third-degree burns.
Oh my God.
After 8 days in the hospital and undergoing skin grafting, Lebeck lost 20 pounds and needed extra care for 3 weeks. She was left partially disabled for the next 2 years. She sought to receive $20,000 from McDonald's to cover her medical expenses, but they offered her $800. She then filed a lawsuit against the chain, accusing them of gross negligence for selling coffee that was defectively manufactured and unreasonably dangerous. After 2 more attempts to settle and McDonald's refusing twice, the case went to trial. Now, if our president is a fabulous attorney, he would know what happened. So what happened?
I'm glad you asked me that question. So, I don't know the exact jury amount, but the jury did return a verdict in her favor. I want to say 800,000. There may have been punitive damage. 400? 400. There may have been a punitive component to that. On motion, after trial, the judge reduced that amount. And the jury, I think, was queried afterwards and was impressed by the testimony of the McDonald's employees or supervisors or executives that came in and stated that, yeah, they in fact knew that their coffee was superheated and that, in fact, they superheated it to get more mileage out of the bean, and that there had been prior incidents before serious burns, third-degree burns over her genitalia. And so, maybe that's more information.
You get 30 seconds.
That was what, and his callousness, on the stand.
All right, I'm going to cut you off here, otherwise we'll be here until 9 o'clock.
I'm glad you asked me that question.
Pretty close, so I'll just give it to you in a quick fashion. McDonald's was 80% responsible for the incident and awarded her $200,000 in compensatory damages, and then she received $2.7 million in punitive damages, which the jury figured was 2 days worth of coffee sales for McDonald's.
Yeah.
So he gets a point for that one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the total you have to get, this was an easy one. You have to get 4 points to get your bell back. 4 points. Now, if the question is in question as to whether the answer is right or not, Judge McCauley will be the call. So, who has question number 2?
Who has question number, oh, PJ, I'll bring you the mic, PJ.
This is a quiz.
A quiz.
This is number 2 on You Make a Call. 2 men took a Dublin newspaper to court in 1987 after it falsified a story about the 2 fighting in a bakery. The paper claimed that Desmond and Robert visited a bakery, and upon realizing there was not enough chocolate eclairs for the 2 of them, proceeded to argue over who saw them first. The paper admitted the story was fabricated and the matter went to court. What happened? You have 30 seconds.
This is a case in Ireland?
It is. Dublin.
I don't know what the hell. It just doesn't sound like a very good case to me. But, I have no idea what happened, so I lose on that. Defense verdict, or the judge threw it out.
Read the answer, PJ.
Gotta read the answer.
I declare.
From the witness box, the journalist responsible for the story stated they thought it was true at the time, and it was only a trivial, humorous matter. Those men successfully received 50,000 pounds each.
Wow.
For substantial damages.
Wow. Okay, didn't get that one.
Point or no point?
No point. He said they threw it out.
This is getting too close for comfort here.
Here's number 3. In 1893, the Supreme Court ruled that the tomato is a vegetable. The whole situation came about during a case between the Nix family, one of the largest sellers of produce in New York City, and Edward Hedden, a collector at the Port of New York. Nix family sued Hedden to recover fees that they had spent on transporting the tomatoes because legislation at the time stated tax must be paid on imported vegetable, but not on fruit. Allegedly, during the trial, both sides put forward definitions of fruit and vegetable to argue their cases. Botanically, any seed-bearing structure formed from a flowering plant is a fruit. How did the court rule?
It's a vegetable, if I'm remembering Nancy Reagan. I would, well, based on what you told me, it sounds like it's a fruit.
Is that your final answer?
That's my final answer.
The court unanimously decided that the scientific classification doesn't change common language, and that a tomato is a vegetable because the publicly generally thinks of a tomato as a vegetable.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm in deep water. I'm not getting my bell back. I'm not getting my bell back.
How do you like them tomatoes?
Who's got number 4?
Well, I have number 4, but I don't know if I can talk to a lawyer without a bell.
You'll never get a bell.
Okay, so, no name and no game. Some people go to great lengths to look like their favorite celebrity. However, Alan Heckard of Portland, Oregon had often been confused for Michael Jordan and did not enjoy it. He sued the NBA star along with the co-founder of Nike, Phil Knight, in 2006 for $832 million. Heckard's looks were not far off from the basketball legend, and he even sported a similar earring. But he was 8 years older and 6 inches shorter. What happened? You have 14 seconds.
What happened? I don't have quite enough information. It doesn't sound like defense verdict.
Heckard dropped this hilarious but true court case when he realized he had no reasonable explanation for the $832 million he was suing for.
Okay, Judge.
Is that close enough?
Pretty easy to get.
Leniency.
Somebody handed me this mic.
Oh, is that it or what we got called?
Okay. In 2014, a 22-year-old driver faced a court summons and a €5,000 fine in the UK for driving through a puddle and splashing the mother of her 2 children in Essex. It was reported that the 2 children were left soaked in dirty water, and Debbie Pugh, their mother, claims the driver drove deliberately through the puddle at high speed. Little did the driver know that there was a police car behind him and officers saw the situation unfold. What was the verdict?
What, in terms of liability, I have no idea what the damages might have been, but I think the liability they probably recovered.
He was reported for driving under violation of Section 3 of the Road Traffic Act on grounds of driving without reasonable consideration.
So that was slightly, the question seemed to come in as if it's the mother and her children sued for damage.
Well, you didn't do a very good job of reading the question.
It's a criminal case.
That's our caller. That's our caller.
You've got 3 points, 1 to go to get that bell.
Oh, that cherished bell. I hear ringing in my head and my ears every day.
Yeah, this will be an easy one.
It's about chicken.
Costly breakup. In 2011, Melissa Cooper sued Christopher Kelly, her former fiancé, and father of one of her children, for fraud and breach of promise. Kelly gave Cooper a ring in 2004. After a 10-year relationship, he broke off the engagement for another woman. Kelly argued that the $10,000 engagement ring he'd given Cooper was not a promise of marriage. What happened?
Why it was not a promise related to marriage?
Kelly argued that the $10,000 engagement he'd given Cooper was not a promise of marriage.
Not a promise of marriage. And why did she argue that?
One of her children were fraud and breach of promise. Kelly gave Cooper a ring in 2004.
Prenup.
Yeah, and so what's the question?
Should have had a prenup.
This is all the information I have.
Well, so generally speaking, there's these they're what we call heart bomb statutes across the United States, which prevent recovery and prevent suit based on promises relating to marriage. And so the attempt would be here. The attempt was to get around those heart bomb statutes. There's one here in California, very sort of interesting, long history of these laws. So that presumably is what the woman was trying to achieve by arguing that the promise was not related to marriage.
Oh, Judge Judy would say the ring goes back to the person that gave it. That's what Judge Judy would say.
Well, it says, however, his argument did not hold up in court.
Why would they want to keep it?
What he said.
So the question was a kind of ambiguous question. It's sort of how she spun it and whether there was any separation between the giving of the ring and the promises and
Judge,
so
give it
forth.
to the judge. Take the mic, take the mic.
So didn't I win my bill back? No!
I don't think you're quite there yet. Let's try one more.
His reasoning is
In 1991, Richard Overton sued Anheuser-Busch for $10,000, claiming the company had falsely advertised the scene of beautiful women and men enjoying themselves while drinking beer.
Sounds like a rotary meeting.
Overton was upset when he discovered this type of lifestyle was not a reality from merely drinking beer. What happened?
It sounds like a completely bogus lawsuit. I mean, I throw it out.
Okay, you got the bell.
The case was dismissed.
There you go. There's some common sense in the law. Hey, where's my bill? Where's my bill? Ding dong.
Alright, one last chance. Does he get it?
Do I really get it? I'll need it today, folks. And the hammer. Yeah, especially need the hammer. All right, so we go like 5 minutes.
Better get to it.
Is that just going on? I don't know what. So this is kind of funny. You be the judge. Category S happens, right? Be careful about blind experts. So I'll tell you a little story. This is a war story. I was trying a case in front of a jury, and I had a client who had a claim for lost wages, lost income, and she happened to be an artist. And the defense had a vocational expert who was blind. You know, this is one of the tricks the defense pulls. Blind experts, because blind, you can do whatever you want. You have all your arms and legs cut off, and look what I can do. They figured disabled experts. But so this blind expert was on the stand. I said, "Well, have you ever seen my client's art?" And he said, "Well, no." And the jury just dissolved and laughed at it. So it's a lesson to be learned. Be careful what you ask. I actually won a nice verdict. Paul Harris, fellow. Can we do this, Mr. Rod?
Let's do it.
Okay. From judge to foundationship. Pam, would you come up here? Last week we did the Tillicums, and this week we're doing our friend Pamela. And she has earned Paul Harris +2, which means she got her Paul Harris certificate, and then she's done it again, and now you've done it again. And maybe you'd share with us why you support the Rotary Foundation in such a generous fashion.
Well, I think we all know what amazing work Rotary International does throughout the world, and it's definitely one of the reasons that I've been involved, and I really appreciate the great work we do. Obviously, you know, there's many different programs around the world internationally that address real needs of real people on the ground, and it's not a high level. Well, I mean, it is a high-level program, but it really, the money gets to where it needs to go, and we get to make sure that the money that we contribute goes and does the real work that we want to support, and it speaks to our hearts and empathy and making a better world for everybody.
All right, Pam.
Thank you, Pam.
Thank you, Pam, very much for all you do.
And I'll just say that when somebody told me that I was like $5 away from my Paul Harris, I was like, what? Because, you know, it's like, I didn't even know. And I remember, I kind of like gave a bigger contribution to get my second one. But I don't even know how this happened, so. It was multi-bookkeeping or not.
I don't think so.
It's just that $5 or $10 a week, you know?
Yeah.
It really does add up.
Yeah.
It's really painless, and you get to do good.
Okay. You hear that all?
Thank you very much, Rod. So, earned birthdays, anniversaries. Nick, August 24. What you and your lovely wife Chris got going? New York. New York, New York?
No. You know, I always like to go out for a very nice dinner, so pick up a very fancy restaurant. And it's an occasion, but Teresa will have none of it. So I know that we're going to end up at Mike's having burgers on,
There you go.
On Friday night. So.
Hey. Well, look at this. Look at this, the Campbells. Awesome, you guys. Congrats. So what are you guys going to do? Helene, what have you...
Yes.
What have you been able to prevail upon Bruce to do?
It's going to be Sunday this year, so I guess I have to cook breakfast.
Oh, wait a minute.
The only morning I cook breakfast. He sleeps so late I can't cook breakfast in the morning. Anyway, we're doing, how many years?
It's
57 this year.
Wow.
We have been doing a little bit of traveling. We're sandwiching our anniversary in between 2 trips to Reno. The first to see our daughter who has moved up there this past weekend, and then Labor Day weekend we're going up to a Rotary DG reunion of my DG class. So we found a neat place to stay. If you've driven to Reno, you passed it. Boomtown Casino on the left-hand side going up. Very, very inexpensive rooms if you're a player.
All right.
Best rooms in town.
Good.
Anyway, we have to stay home one weekend. We too to go on the weekend.
Have fun, you guys. Congratulations. So we got to move here. Remember Rotary Fire Relief still. This is the website for giving. The district's website. Announcements, September Interact Barbecue with Louie and Bob are going to get that on calendar. September 7th at Martin's Place. September 14th, 15th, that's sold out. October 13th, Sabbatical Craft Brew Bash. We had a really good meeting yesterday. Terry, I'm really encouraged. We've got critical mass of breweries now and lots of people helping Terry.
Can we have Natalie talk a little bit today?
Sure.
very excited.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm really excited. The Brew Fest is shaping up very nicely. We've got a lot of great ideas, some commitments from breweries. Panazera Meat has just joined. We've got Gerard Paella out in front. We're just now kind of outlining where the food's going to go, where the music and the beer vendors will be going. So it's going to be very small, local, and the whole feeling behind this is for us to work together. So we can, on a small scale, we can craft, looking for a sauerkraut maker. We're looking to bring in, going to the farmer's market and talking to some of the local vendors, maybe they do mustards or pickles or things like that, have them there to help. And also, your efforts, if you have baking, cooking, or anything like that, we'd love to join, hands. The community kitchen at the community church, maybe we could prep there and get some good things going there. So we're going to have a short meeting after, just 5 minutes. If anyone would like to join us and kind of give us your ideas and maybe help us support, please wait after the meeting, after the speaker, and we can join forces there. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. And next week we'll have for everybody, I know you've been waiting for this, tickets to sell.
Yay!
One last thing, 5 seconds. The Ride for Polio is returning. Patrick and his wife Ellie and myself are returning, thanks to a lot of work that Bill did last year. But that's the first week of October. We'll be hitting you up for pledges.
Okay.
And it's a great way to give it a pulse.
You're going all the way from the Oregon border down?
This time it's more like Tour de California, Tour de France, or cherry picking nice stretches that the clubs can support, and they're much nicer dates.
Good. Well, sounds good.
So you're looking for pledges, people pledge to you guys as you're riding, right?
Right, so if you pledge $100 per day per rider or something like that, that goes right to your Paul Harris, you get full credit, and we'll work with Barbara on that.
Okay, we want to move to our speaker now, but I did want to say with respect to the Brew Bash, we do need a sponsors person, someone that just, to go to sponsors and tell them what we're doing, tell them how we raise money for the local community, that we're going to have this wonderful event, and it can be a win-win both for the business and for the club and the community. And so we're looking for someone to do that, and so please. So Bernadette,